Broadcast. I am Ian Keitani. We kick off this bulletin with the Jamhuri grounds, where the Linda Ground movement is holding their special delegates conference. And of course, our reporter Alan Ochanda has been at the grounds listening to the proceedings and what has happened. Of course, the main thing that we know so far is the confirmation of Oburu Oginga as the party leader of ODM, and also the removal of Godfrey Osotsi as the deputy party leader. Of course, a decision that will be forwarded to the NEC for consideration or confirmation. Now, I want us to cross over there and speak to Alan Ochanda, who will be speaking to us via phone. Ochanda, what is the latest? What is the mood there? And of course, this is with regards to Oburu Oginga finally being confirmed as the party leader of the Orange Party.
Well, the special delegate convention here at Jamhuri grounds here in Nairobi is actually midway. It's almost over. But remember that the two key agendas were to ratify what the National Governing Council that was convened last year arrived at, and so it was presented to the special delegate conference for ratification. And so the restructuring of the party, ratification of the party leadership, that was revised. So Oburu Oginga has been handed the instrument of power here. So the list, the lineup of the ODM leadership, although the only name that has been officially struck off is that of our senator of Vihiga County. There's a Godfrey Osotsi who never got a proposer or a seconder here at this particular ICBC here. But all the other names, including Gladys Wanga, the governor of Homa Bay, has been retained and ratified as the national chairperson of the Orange Party. But that position of the SG, the Secretary General, remains, the woman rep of Brucia, Captain Omanyo, remains in that particular position in acting capacity. But interesting to note that the presence of Ababu Namwamba was ODM Secretary General before Edwin Sifuna took over. And so his presence here, although he hasn't made any speeches here, but his presence really raises a lot of questions because the chairperson of the ODM party, Gladys Wanga, says that the positions that are fell vacant will not be replaced today. And a small bird whispers that Ababu Namwamba might be one of the candidates to replace Edwin Sifuna, because remember that this particular party has only had 3 secretary generals. That's governor of Kisumu, that's Professor Peter Anyang' Nyong'o, Edwin Sifuna, and also remember that Dr. Agnes Zani acted as a Secretary General, but now Edwin Sifuna, having been ousted now, but the case is still not yet prosecuted. And so Ababu Namwamba's presence here really speaks a lot. And so a small bird whispers that it could be on the card, it could be one of the candidates for it to take over from Edwin Sifuna. And also the other agenda was to present the recommendations by the National Governing Council that was sitting in Mombasa late last year, the agenda of just giving the party leadership the authority and the go-ahead to engage like-minded political parties, especially UDA and other parties, in essence, just ensuring that having a pre-election pact as they gear up for the elections next year. And so those are some of the key agendas that were discussed here. But from their speeches here, it is like a done deal. They have already had actually in the forward gear to ensure that they engage the UDA party, and also the presence of such figures like Ababu Namwamba, who's actually just been fresh from President William Ruto's government. It really speaks a lot that the entanglement, there's no reverse gear here. And so we shall be preparing this for our subsequent bulletin quite comprehensively for our viewers.
Well, Ochanda, before I let you go, just as we were speaking, we've seen the arrival of Iyala Member of Parliament Winnie Odinga at that particular function. Remember, he was, of course, fronted by the Nairobi region to be, nominated by the region to be the deputy party leader. But, of course, that will happen in the National Delegates Conference. And today's agenda was just the ratification of the decision to have Oburu Oginga as the party leader. But just generally speaking, what is the turnout like? What is the security situation like? Or how has it been like? Because at Tufungamano House, there was a bit of a scuffle with the police officers trying to scuttle that particular meeting.
Well, looking at the choice of this venue, it's quite telling, quite secured. All the security checkups here for the delegates who were invited from all over the country, you had to show your invite message. That was to be proven by party orderlies here, of course, assisted by the Kenya police who are actually stationed here in all corners. And so people, all the delegates and the officials were alighting as far as 3 kilometers away. They were freezed, and you had to show the invite message that was sent to you. And of course, they had their ways of just ascertaining that the messages were authentic, so that we could not have a situation where people were forwarding the messages to each other. And as to whether Winnie Odinga could be on the cards, remember that they are playing safe. The ODM party is playing safe because they appear not to want to run the risk of replacing one official, and yet the other official is not yet replaced. And so they are playing their cards are close to their chest here. Remember that the most crucial position that they really want to fill is the Secretary General. But the Secretary General's position, remember that the political parties dispute tribunal yesterday directed the Secretary General Edwin Sifuna to go back to the party and utilize all the party avenues to seek justice. So those positions, including what Winnie Odinga is actually angling for, all of them won't be filled today. And so it means a matter of waiting to see as to how they will be navigating this particular terrain here, just to say that there's no further fallout. Remember that there's been a sort of a fallout where Linda Mwananchi and Linda Ground factions have emerged. So how they navigate this particular angle will be quite interesting, so that they will just maybe avert a possible fallout.
Well, thank you very much, Alan Ochanda. Allow me to release you to follow up on, of course, the developments at the Special Delegates Convention of the ODM party in Jamhuri, or rather at the Jamhuri grounds. Now, at the same time, a rival convention was held at Ufungamano House, led by ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, and the